You're back before the cargo container. Its draw has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems to have grown slightly. You attempt to turn the handle. To your left, the lieutenant considers your actions with some puzzlement. No reply. The knock produces a hollow ring of metal. Hey. Psst. Psst. Hey, you. Yes, you. Word on the street is you're ready to start building communism again. You keep saying things like, down with the bourgeoisie, eat the rich, sodomize the landowners, impale all people who have more than 25 real in their pocket, literally murder all human beings regardless of their political beliefs. That kind of stuff. Funky style. Very funky. So tell me, do you have any questions before we fire up the big communism builder? Or do we get right down to it? Failure. It's about failure. Yes, abject failure. Total, irreversible defeat on all fronts. Absolutely vanquished, beaten, curb-stomped and pissed on. Until you came along. You will reverse the fortune of the workers of the world. You alone, against every living thing, against every human alive. 800 trillion real in the hands of an impossibly well-organized ruling class. Towering city blocks of bankmen who have the ears of prime ministers. Million-headed armies of nations and the love of your own mother. You against the atom, the charm and the spin, where the whole world failed. Matter failed to bend to human will. Human will failed to get out of bed and tie its laces. You alone, single-handedly, will rebuild the dreams of the working class. You are the last communist. Now get to work, comrade. Oh yeah, get the firing squads and the animal wagons ready. Too late to back out now. You can't make an omelette without breaking a few million eggs. Before you is a walrus of a man seated behind a large desk. He looks up from his work, not the least bit surprised to see you. With great effort, he straightens himself up in his chair, yet says nothing. He simply stares at you, with a mixture of expectation and impatience, well bottled.
Welcome, Mr. Dubois, Mr. Kitsuragi. It's good of you two to stop by. Please, have a seat. I'm Everard Clare, head of the Debarders Union here in Martinez. I'd offer you my hand, but unfortunately my health prevents me from getting up. You understand?
He looks extremely comfortable. The tiny folding chair, on the other hand, looks like a torture device.
You go ahead, detective.
Whatever he has in store for you, it can't be good, he thinks. I'll do my best. Forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff? You're getting some seriously bad vibes from that name.
Please, Mr. Dubois, let us converse in a civilized manner, as equals. Take a seat. I insist. Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another. So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders Union help a representative of the Revachol Citizens Militia today?
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair in the world. It's violating your backside.
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from a certain Lawrence Gart. Some people have no manners, it pains me to say. This should take care of that nonsense. It should be sufficient to cover your expenses for a few days and patch over your differences with a cafeteria manager. Go ahead, take it.
Wow, that's 25 real. That's good money. You need it.
Yes, I know Lawrence. He's a real character. No union man in him. A real piece of work, that boy is.
With a grin, he points to the checker game. It's like you're on a game show. At least don't thank him for it.
Don't mention it. But also don't forget it. I'm just kidding, of course.
He's not.
Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter. Your lost gun. Let me assure you, Union people are on it as we speak. I've got my best hounds looking for that lost gun.
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear is an echo. Lost gun, lost gun, lost gun. The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only two words escape its gravitational pull. Lost and gun. When he said, "Don't worry," he actually meant, be very worried.
Are you all right, Harry? You seem anxious. Don't be. Everything's going to be all right. It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't out there playing with it right now, pointing it into their own mouths. It's in a safe place. I just know it. I have a feeling everything's going to be all right.
It was loaded. There were 2 bullets in it. You always keep at least 2 barrels loaded. God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you? You're about to cry because you lost your gun and those children are gonna shoot themselves with it.
Mr. Dubois, you don't look so good.
Despair creeps into you, getting fat on your weakness. Whatever noble intentions you once had as a police officer, it's eating them all up now. You're still coming up with sentences. That's a step up from total annihilation, right?
Fuck me? Please leave the rage you have for after we finish the investigation.
Nothing you can say would make you feel any better now. Cop gives up the detective genre for social realism. Another police officer resigned from the RCM following a nervous breakdown. He now lives under a bridge, drinking and occasionally throwing excrement at passers-by, shouting, "I never loved that woman." When asked to comment, former colleagues objected to the theory that his psychological disintegration was precipitated by his wife leaving him. "It's because the Furrows lost that match," said Captain Ptolemy Price, once the man's superior officer. "It's because he couldn't get a big gun from acquisitions, and anyway, police work really burns you out after a while," Satellite Officer Jean-Vic Mayer, the deranged former cop's partner, commented. Sergeant Mac Torson, another former colleague, did not propose any theories, merely saying, "Whatever happened to him wasn't about birds. He got fucked, that's all." Before you is a walrus of with a mixture of
Welcome, Miss. I'd offer you my...
He looks extreme.
You go ahead, detective.
Whatever he has in store for you, it can't be good, he thinks. I'll do my best. Forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff? You're getting some seriously bad vibes from that name.
Please, Mr. Dubois, let us converse in a civilized manner, as equals. Take a seat. I insist.
It's nothing. Yes, that's probably right. It's nothing. Forget about it. Filter it out.
Very well, Mr. Dubois. I respect a man with strong convictions. I, too, have convictions. One of which is that I will not engage with any man who won't face me at eye level. Should you find yourself more amenable in the future, I'd gladly resume our conversation. But until then, I'm afraid I must ask you to leave.
You're no Titan of Felician, buddy. He's got you in a fork. Sit down or leave.
Yes?
Mr. Dubois, I hope time is... Please, Mr. Dubois, let us converse in a civilized manner, as equals. Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders Union help a representative of the Revachol Citizens Militia today?
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair.
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a... It should be sufficient.
Wow, that's 25 real. That's good money. You need it.
Is there anything you'd like to say to me? Or... Cool? I wouldn't go that far. I'm sure there are cooler things than delivering a comically oversized novelty check to a cafeteria manager. But, sure, if that's what's cool nowadays. Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter. Your lost gun.
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear is an echo. Lost gun, lost gun, lost gun. Despair creeps into you, getting fat on your weakness. You're still coming up with sentences. He watches you melt down stoically. Nothing you can cop gives up. Before you is with a mixture of
Welcome, I'd offer you...
He looks at
You go ahead.
whatever. Forget about that.
Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and so tell me.
The chair?
By this it should be sufficient to cover your
Wow, that's 25 real.
Don't mention it.
He's not.
Now,
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear is an echo. The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only 2 words escape its gravitational pull. When he said, "Don't worry," he actually meant, be very worried.
I know everything, Harry. Right now, I know that you're worried. Don't be worried. Everything's going to be all right. It's not like you left it loaded. You did...
It was loaded. There were 2 bullets in it. You always keep at least 2 barrels loaded.
Officer, we will deal with this later. We don't need Mr. Clare's help with this.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Officer, we will deal...
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you? You want to cry? God, you're weak.
Mr. Dubois,
Despair creeps into you, getting fat on your weakness. You're
Fuck me? Please leave...
nothing. Before you, with a mixture of...
well, I'd offer...
He looked...
You go ahead.
Whatever, forget about.
So tell me.
The chair you're sitting on has got...
By this, it should be...
Wow, that's 20...
Don't mention...
He's...
Now,
His slug-like lips. The world when he said, "Don't worry."
are you all right, Harry? You say you got there. It's not like you left it loaded.
It was loaded. There were 2 bullets in it.
Officer,
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
God, you're
Miss...
Despair creeps into you, getting fat on your weakness. You're still coming up.
fuck me? Please leave...
Nothing you can't give.
Oh, hey, mister. I knew you'd be back to talk with old Leo here. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. No trouble at all, mister. No trouble at all. It's like that old saying goes. Wisdom with...
You're back before the cargo container. Its drawer has no reply. The knot produces a hollow ring of metal. A rusted control panel. The crane does not return. No screech of metal when you... The file cabinet stands steady as ever. The drawer slide. The payphone hangs mutely on the wall. The payphone. With a mixture of...
Welcome, I'd offer...
He looks at...
You go ahead.
Whatever, forget about that.
Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you are So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders
The chair you're sitting on.
Oh, by the way, this should take care of that nonsense. It should be sufficient.
Wow, that's 25 real. That's...
Yes, I know, Laura.
With a grin, he points to the checker game. It's like you're on a game show. At least, don't thank him for it.
Don't mention it.
He's not.
Now.
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear is an echo. The world is swallowed. When he said, don't worry, he actually meant...
Are you all right? It's not like you...
It was loaded.
Officer.
I wouldn't be so sure.
Officer.
I wouldn't be...
Officer.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
God, Before you, with a
Welcome, I'd offer
he looks.
You go ahead.
Whatever. Forget about
X. So tell me, how can the head of the
the chair.
by the this should take it should be sufficient.
Wow, that's 25 real.
Yes,
With a grin, he points to the checker game. It's like you're on a game show. At least, don't thank him for it.
don't mention
He's not.
now. I'd
His slug-like lips move. The world is when he said, "Don't worry." He actually.
are you all it's not like
It was loaded. There were 2 bullets in it. You always. God, you're. Before you, with a.
welcome, Miss I'd offer
He looks at
You go ahead.
whatever. Forget about
X. So tell me, how can the head
the chair.
by this it should be
Wow, that's
Yeah.
with a grin.
don't mention
He's
now.
his slug-like lips. The word when he said, "Don't."
Are you all it's not like
It was loaded.
Officer.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
God. Before you, with a mixture of it.
Welcome, I'd offer
He looks at
You go ahead.
whatever. Forget about
excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can so tell me, how can the
the chair.
by this it should be
Wow, that's 25 real. That's good money. You need it.
Okay. I respect a man with principles. No handouts then. Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other
His slug-like lips move. The word when he said, "Don't worry."
I know it's not like
It was loaded. There were 2. God, you're sweating. You want. Before you, with a.
welcome, I'd offer
He looked.
You go ahead.
Whatever. Forget about that.
excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can so tell me, how can the head
The chair.
by this it should be
Wow, that's.
don't mention
He's not.
now.
His slug-like lips. The when he said, "Don't worry."
Are you all it's not like
It was loaded. There were 2 bullets in it. God, you're. Before you, with a.
welcome, I'd offer
He looked.
You go.
Whatever. Forget about
X. So tell me, how can
the
by this it should be
Wow, that's 25.
Yeah.
With a grin, he's
now.
his slug-like lips. The word when he said, "Don't."
Are you all it's not like
It was loaded. There were 2 God, you're sweat. Before you, with a.
welcome, Miss I'd offer
He looks at
You go ahead.
whatever. Forget about
X. So tell me, how can
the
by this it should be
Wow, that's
yes.
with a grin.
Don't
He's
now.
his slug-like lips. The word when he said,
Are you all it's not like
it was loaded. There were 2 God. Before you, with a mixture of.
welcome, I'd offer you my hand, but
He looks at
You go ahead.
whatever. Forget about.
excellent, Mr. So tell me, how can by this it should be
Wow, that's 20.
Yeah.
With a.
don't
He's
now.
his slug-like lips. The word when he said,
Are you all it's not like
it was loaded. There were 2 God, you're. Before you, with a.
welcome, I'd offer
He.
You go.
What? Forget.
X. So tell me, how by this it should be
Wow.
yeah.
With a.
Don't
He's his slug-like lip. The when he said,
are you it's not
it was loaded. There were 2 God. Before you, with a mixture of.
welcome, I'd offer
He.
You go.
Whatever. Forget about.
X. So tell me, how can this it should be
Wow.
yeah.
With a.
Don't
He's
now. I'd like to set your mind at...
His slug-like, the way he...
I know everything. It's not like...
It was loaded. There were two... God. Before you, with a...
Welcome, Miss... I'd off...
You got what? Forget...
So tell me. This... It should be...
Wow.
Yeah,
With a...
don't...
His slug-like lips. The word when he said...
It's not...
It was...
Officer.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Who does this guy think you are? Ronnie the Rookie? You ain't worried about no lost gun, or unpaid bill, or forgotten name. You're the bad cop. You're probably more corrupt than him. Fuck yes. You're part of the old guard, the ancient guard, the most corrupt, unholy cops in the land. Chill out like the black dragon you are. The fat man does the same, sinking deeper into his chair than one would think is physically possible. He seems to be enjoying your little display. Good. Now lean in with some corruption.
That we do, Harry. Let them say what they will about you and me. We're both born fighters. Why, thank you. It's always nice when a fellow professional appreciates your work.
That's it. Now kick back and add a final flourish for dignity.
You strike me as a reasonable man, Harry. I like that in a lawman. Let's cut to the chase, shall we? What can Everard Clare do for you?
I think we'd like to ask you a few questions. Don't you think so, Detective?
Whatever you do, don't ask him about the gun first. You don't want him thinking you're scared.
Of course. Let us dispatch with the formalities. You call me Everard, I call you Harry. My God, so it's true. I didn't want to believe it, but you are a fantastic science fiction amnesiac cop, aren't you? What are the odds of that?
I think the odds of that are very low.
It might be a good idea to hide your confusion. I mean, see what his game is first.
So good to hear that, Harry. Apparently my sources were wrong. However, if you did have a spot of memory trouble, I could help you out. With my big fat folder.
Words flow like a river of honey from his lips. I guess word has already reached him. No matter. No harm done. It's just a brown folder. You can't make out what's written on it.
Are you trying to tell me you've gotten hold of some of our documents?
Mr. Kitsuragi, would you mind? Me and Harry are talking about his lost identity right now.
Don't just jump to the folder. That's not smart. Shows you're on the edge. Do some probing first.
Well, Harry, if I were to sum you up in one word, it would be apologetic. Yes, you seem to be, a lot of the time, but right now there's no reason to be. Let loose a little. Be you.
He's probably just making a guess based on your recent activity in Martinez.
Family? Harry, you're not a family man. There's not one peep of family in here. Unless you think you're a family man. Do you strike yourself as a family man, Harry? Well, yes. I'm sure you're going to make one little boy or a girl very happy and proud one day, Harry. It's Harry. Harry Dubois. Don't be silly, Harry. Harry Dubois, that's a real man's name. A Union man's. Mr. Kitsuragi doesn't seem even slightly empathetic to your memory loss, Harry. I, however, wish to help you any way I can. But of course, Harry, your precinct is the 41st and you live in Jamrock. You're a Jamrock boy. A long way from home, but that's okay.
He doesn't really seem to know any more about it.
Ah, this? My friends in your organization gave it to me, Harry.
This translates into, haha, you guys are so corrupt.
I find that very suspicious. May I have a look?
I'm afraid this is meant for Union eyes only, Mr. Kitsuragi. I'm sure you understand. Please continue, Harry.
As you look at the folder, Everard covers it with his hand and pets it. He's hiding it from you because it's not a real RCM folder. It's just another one of those brown folders you saw in the file cabinet.
Okay, Harry, you got me. This is from the Census Bureau, not the RCM. Those Census Bureau people are absolutely corrupt. You should do something about them.
He got the name from the Census Bureau, and everything else from your actions here in Martinez.
Yes, Mr. Kitsuragi from the Census Bureau. Like I said, now I'm actually a very busy man. So is there anything else I can do for you, Harry?
That means he doesn't really know anything about you. A pity. The mystery of you will have to remain a mystery for the time being.
Yes, that's what I said. Try to keep up, okay? Let's move on. Am I going to ask? Hell, Harry. You spin-kicked my strongest man in the face. I saw it from my window. Would you ask a man like that how he got into your container yard? Don't worry, Harry. Between you and me, I'm not a huge fan of his race thing. But the Union did not get where we are today by frowning on eccentricity. Anyway, I assure you, I am a very well-informed man. Information reaches me before I even get the chance to request it. Oh, of course. That's your main thing here. That's why you're in Martinez. I know everything that goes on around here, and I would love to discuss it with you. I mean, it's no secret that the lynching is connected to the strike. So much to talk about. Honestly, it's been weighing on me so heavily. I understand you need to interview me. But there's a thing that's been keeping me up at night. I want to talk about the hanging. I mean, if we could just calmly talk, exchange information, we could blow this thing wide open.
Yes, that sounds good. Let's do that.
But I can't think straight with this thing weighing on me. You're police officers, aren't you? I have a crazy idea. You guys are basically door-opening machines, incredibly talented at opening doors. And I'm sure you're going to open this one with flying colours, Harry. This really is very simple, and there's nothing shady about it.
An excellent opportunity presents itself, sire. You could win the trust of the arch-liar, pretend to play into his hand. Then, should you wish, bend his efforts towards your own.
Harry, I'm a very busy man, and more importantly, I don't have that extraordinary physique you do. You look like you could run around all day.
You want to send someone a message that the police are working for you.
I repeat, I'm a very, very busy man, Miss... Oh, no one's. It's just a weasel. A weasel lives there. Nothing for you to worry about. Harry, my dear friend, I am what people call a local bigwig. I know everything that goes on in Martinez. A loud blabbering weasel. When weasels feel no one is watching, they start acting foolishly. Just go there, unlock the door, and leave it open. It's been such a burden on me, Harry. I just want this to be over so I can discuss business with you. Fantastic, my friend. Just let me know when it's done and we can take our friendship to the next level. You can get the key from Manana. He's down by the gates. Manana's like a free agent in the Union. Special operations. Hardened socialist. A real free thinker too. He'll tell you precisely where the door is. One last thing, Harry. Just open the door. You don't need to go in or anything. I just want that weasel to come home and see the unlocked door. My dear Harry, there are literally millions of containers in this harbour. I couldn't possibly remember what's in all of them. Harry, you smooth-talking son of a bitch. Time is a precious resource, and I don't have enough of it to count containers with you.
Smooth talking. Maybe that's the way to go about opening the container. You should at least try convincing it.
Yes, your lost gun. My best men are on it. They're turning every stone, searching every playground, asking kids, grandmas, everyone. Your gun will be found, Harry. Let me assure you of that. It's just a matter of time and effort.
The only way to find it seems to be working with him. He might even be holding your gun hostage. Who knows? Only one thing is certain. If you work with him, you're going to get it back. And working with him might be the only way to do it.
Damn it, Harry. That's exactly what it means. I'm only kidding, of course.
Of course. I understand. We help you, you help us.
Wait. You need this to get in and out through the gate. Here, you're one of us now. A real red and white Union man. Take care, Harry.
Oh, hey, mister. I knew you'd be back to talk with old Leo here. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It's like Lady Lariche said when she opened a bathhouse in the basement of my apartment building. No trouble at all, mister. No trouble at all. It's like that old saying goes.
You're back before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were last. No reply. The knock produces your tent to your left. The lieutenant could...
Do not presume this has drastically altered our race dynamic. True, I said nothing about our personal dynamic. That has altered.
So, how'd you like our harbor?
You've been in there, he means. Talked to the boss man too, probably.
It's but a rest area on the path leading across open plains. Right, you talk to the boss, eye to eye, like men of the plain. If you have any more questions, I'm set to talk. A key, huh? What door is this key supposed to open? Oh, say no more. I got you. I got that key right here. And let me tell you, it's mighty good of you to help us out during the strike. Working class solidarity, as they say. I knew this man was a commie. And it's a good thing you're doing too. Thanks. What you're looking for is a basement door behind the greenhouse. That's behind the whirling in rags. That's all I know. Our organization is what you call compartmentalized. Means we keep out of each other's business.
Okay, but where did you get the key from?
The janitor gave it to me. Nice fella. We talked about life and things that really, truly matter. None of this mess we're in, this jiving and juggling. What's it for? To feed our children, I guess. I'm more of a philosophical dock worker. I like to talk about the big picture stuff. Who I am, who you are, what we are fighting for.
He means he's not going to tell you, cause he doesn't know. But he will shoot his mouth off with you now that you're working for Everard.
We're negotiating our share. Aye. This stuff, they already covered. It's not enough. Not enough to get ahead. More about keeping us in our place. All of it. However, right now we want all the harbor workers to be on the company's board, so they could take part in the decision-making process.
This seditious talk sounds like communism. Just so we're on the same page, communism is basically wanting to kill the rich people or deporting them to a labor camp in southeast Grad. But don't say that out loud if you're a communist.
I think it's best you make up your own mind now that you've met him. In my eyes, he is a capable organizer and a decent businessman. I guess you kind of get to be the village chief. He oversees the harbor, makes deals with the owners or other relevant parties, watches out for his own.
By that, you mean corruption?
By heavens, why would he not be corrupt? We live in a harsh and disordered world, see? And in this world, the old man is corrupt for our benefit, and we know it. Appreciate it even. He is, personally, not too lavish. He is reasonably lavish, sure. That's his prerogative. It's not like you want a saintly demeanor on a corrupt motherfucker. That would be a manipulative illusion. Besides, there are no non-corrupt systems in the world anyway, and moralism is the most corrupt of them all.
This man has political theory, and it has not failed him today.
No. I don't think I'm a communist. Seeing something of value and saying I want it all to myself is a much older and simpler notion. No science to it at all. Even a weak child can think it. The only things holding someone back are I can't and I shouldn't. I have nothing against communists. They are honorable boyaderos. And they have good analysis. But my own code serves me well. If my code starts failing, a code can fail a man as well as a man can fail a code, then I will have to submit to a new one, which may well be communism.
He knows who he is, firmly grounded, has no need to reinforce or elaborate his political identity to himself or others.
See, I am primarily a lazy person. Sure, I've had the necessary free time. Fortunately, there's always time.
The look in his brown eyes conjures up an understanding. For him, having command of his time is the most important thing. It all comes together now. The way he speaks about scabs, his general attitude. He's a follower of a 500-year-old Franco-Nigerian Boyadero code, itself an appropriation of Vespertine rule. That of a noble peasant or a traveling herdsman. True to yourself, independent in your actions, loyal to your friends. No. No. The man sits on the railing, his hands reaching far and wide. Yet it feels as if he could, effortlessly, go even wider, if need be, an endless torrent of time.
The mercenary, eh? Who could have killed him? That's indeed the question. Why even do such a thing? What a thought! Why would noble workers resort to such a thing? Unless they were pushed, of course. Your dead guy was an enemy combatant. He was an agent of the opposition, attempting to undermine our honorable efforts. I ain't the murdering type, but that's just me. Large organizations like our union have all sorts of men, with all sorts of skills.
He's not lying about not doing it himself.
Understood. This has been of limited use. Still, thank you.
No problem. I wish the best to you in your search. Should I...
Went native on the chief, huh? Those ballerina antics were reckless. Should have just punched him in the throat again. Let's talk about our right to work. When a bunch of beats me.
There's something odd in the way he carries himself. His set of clothing looks vaguely mismatched. The different pieces of the attire seem ill-fitting. His shirt is far too small and an unpleasantly tight fit, while the overalls, held up by a belt, seem to fit a man with much more corpulence. He ignores your question, choosing instead to turn to the emaciated workers, raising both fists in the air. The clothes are obviously not his. Silence is the answer. There's something off here, but he won't say what. You've been talking to him for quite a while now. Something is off with this guy. Ask him where he's from.
What's it to you? Am I a suspect? Done no crimes. I only fight for the rights of people. We're all workers, right? Workers stick together. Came from the eminent domain, in Jamrock. Backgrounds in odd jobs, heavy lifting, cargo hauling, bouncer work. I know the drill. Worked at Territorial. Ring a bell? Uh-huh. It was a long time ago. What's it to you? Big mess, caused by union greed. We're all workers, right? Workers stick together. Came from the eminent domain. Worked at Territorial. Uh-huh. It was a long time ago.
The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, 1 bottle equals 10 cents.
Oh, that's the tear machine. It's a machine for tear. You know, you find tear outside, like bottles or whatever, and put it in the machine, then it gives you money. You need a bag, I guess. We used to have some, but we gave them all out, so... Feel free to use it if you find a bag, though. I'm sure there are some out there, somewhere.
A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the Saint-Baptiste Pharmaceutics logo. Their logo is the bloodless rose, pure white, untouched by harm.
Just ask me if you need anything from St. Baptiste. We don't stock prescription meds, but we do have Nosafed, Duramine, Magnesium, and Hypnogamma. Okay, here. I hope St. Baptiste makes you feel better or something. Okay, here. I hope St. Baptiste makes you feel better or...
A colourful display of cigarettes and alcohol bottles line the shop wall, inviting you closer. The bottles wink at you in the light. The smokes too glitter in their wrapping. It's like looking into a kind of heaven. Your knees are weak. There, in that dark green glass, all in vain. The great flowing river of warmth, wine, alcohol, beer, alcohol, love, alcohol.
Guess not, no. I'm obliged to inform you that both alcohol and cigarettes damage your health, but I guess you already know that. Welcome to Frit. Feel free to look around or something. Everything is out on the shelves.
What's that magazine she's reading?
I don't know. Frit? A 7 to 11 grocery store. I think they think that the extra tea makes it funkier. It doesn't.
The story goes that normal Fritta, with 2 T's, a men's workwear shop in Vredefort, was already taken. So when Fritta Retail Inc. grew into a multinational corporation, they had to add an extra letter to avoid trademark infringement.
You mean this? This is Pop Stars. It's got, like, famous people in it. It's not for sale.
Looks like it also has something called Police de la Mode, featured on page 34. This speaks to you.
It's where they rate different outfits famous people wear. It's kind of funny. They're kind of mean. It's about who's the most stylish. No. I don't like it. I hate it.
We are not the fashion police. We're the real police.
You mean this? This is Pop Stars. It's got, like...
Looks like it also has something called Police de la Mode, featured on page 34. This speaks to you. She pops her raspberry flavor, her shoulders tense. She shuffles back only slightly. The lieutenant frowns at you before turning to the clerk.
You mean this is...
Looks like it also has...
It's where they rate different outfits famous people wear. It's kind of funny. They're kind of mean. It's about who's the most stylish. Benita. She's a model. Usually it's a model. Or a singer-songwriter. Or a model.
We are not the fashion police. We're the real police.
Okay. I'm not really supposed to be chatting to anyone, but... Wow. I didn't know you worked for the union, sir. Anything else I can do for you?
No, you don't work for the union. The Union works for you by supplying you with cash. That was easy, worryingly so.
I don't really know anything. I mean, I know it's there, but I haven't seen it, so... Not really. No. I didn't know him at all. I don't know, really long. I don't know.
No need to worry. It's just standard procedure for us to ask around. If you hear anything, let us know, okay?
Okay. Uh-huh. Reality? You mean, what reality? Economic reality, or...?
She is like a student unexpectedly called upon by a teacher. Can she answer the classroom question?
I don't really know anything. I mean, I'm 15. I don't know. What about it? We're in for it? As mankind, or as a nation?
What will her essay prompt be?
We're in a transition, you know, transitioning from monarchy to democracy, all that stuff. I don't know. Look at the clock. It's right behind you on the wall.
The clock shows the time at 10:09. The hands seem to be still. It's apparent the clock doesn't work.
When ordinary people take over the government and demand democracy. Yeah, it happened like 50 years ago or so. Sorry, I'm not very good at this. At history, I mean. Our government? Or do you mean something else? Sorry, I really need to finish this article. Cool.
You see several packaged raincoats fill a low shelf beneath a display of croissants and juice bottles. The raincoats are transparent, except for the big Fritta slogan on the back. The packages are small, discreet, sloppily stacked, making them easier to take unnoticed. No need to worry about knocking over a display. The girl Oh no. I said don't let it fall out with a thump. What did you do?
Did you?
You see, sir, the packages are small, discreet. Sloppily, the girl delves into the magazine. Hair covering her face, vision obscured. She cannot see your hand move. Down onto one knee, pretending to do up a shoelace. Take a loose package from the bottom. Slip it in the old sleeve. The girl doesn't notice a thing.
What is what? It's a raincoat. If you want to buy one, then it's only 4 real.
The sloppy stacking makes it more difficult to discern the missing one. You will be safe.
Welcome to Revachol. Don't you welcome to Revachol me. My grandfather came here from a 3,000-year-old racist isolationist culture, while your ancestors came to this island a mere 300 years ago. Every school of thought and government has failed in the city, but I love it nonetheless. It belongs to me as much as it belongs to you. It's men like you who keep Revachol divided, making it that much harder for everyone to climb out of this post-war limbo.
What he means is, fixation on the Revacholian nation makes it harder for Revachol to actually attain self-determination.
Oh, come on, man. I just said, welcome to Revachol. It's a lorry driver thing. I know exactly what you meant. You think my kind doesn't belong here, that I should watch myself and behave. But you see, I'm an officer of the RCM. It's actually my job to make sure you behave. I would advise you to remember that.
Silence. The air between them becomes tense. Your partner needs backup. Now's your moment to shine.
You two make a cute couple. You know that?
The lieutenant exhales and resumes his regular calmness.
Whatever you say, officers.
He smells of heavy motor oils, and his breath of high tar content cigarettes, probably Astra Whites.
Oh, not much anymore. I'm here to pick up some cargo, but the dock workers are on strike, so it's a sit and wait on your ass situation. The strike? Oh, they've been at it for a while. A month, 2 months maybe. But this here is just the last week or so. Apples?
Apples is exactly the kind of thing you'd say if you had something to hide.
Yeah, apples? I take it you had other questions? It's about biological determinism, natural law, the sorting of the races.
Not the most popular topic nowadays, with a coalition in charge, You might want to change the topic. That is, bury your head under the sand like common sheep. People who've studied these things say that you and me are superior by design. So, naturally, we Occidentals should be in charge. Obviously, you can see the merits in that. So, lately we Occidentals have experienced an unfortunate downturn when members of the superior race cease to believe in their innate superiority. They stop competing for resources. The problem? The damn kips are showing a real good game lately. Same with the mosquitoes. And the other introduced species too. They're on the precipice of cultural victory.
Cultural victory? What is this then?
It's what the kips of Boogie Street are going for, right under our noses. And the others too, on the radio. Heard any chansons lately? Heard any motetos or leader? No. Dominating culture is how they plan to win. They say so themselves. It's true. Also, you need to realize the dangers of mixing races. Who knows what might happen if people don't stay in their birthplace? You might end up with a new sub-race, with unknown characteristics, leading to extra competition. That's why you've got to control the offspring. Go right ahead. You may be a cop, but that won't help you avoid the calamity to come.
Lieutenant Kisaragi's stern expression remains unchanged, but you sense something there, below. Not a lot of moral fiber on this one yet, he thinks, wriggled out of it. Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox. As you tap,
There's no use.
translation. We're not going anywhere right now. The white suede feels luxurious under the touch, and the metal clutch handle, a metallic drawer, the pull-out toolbox.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Just a second. Sylvia? Yes. Hello? Oh, great. What else do you need, Detective? Yes, I know who you are. You're a police officer. The law.
This exact conversation has happened before. Establishing authority before this young girl seems to have been important to you in the past.
You told me back in the whirling. You told everybody, and so does your badge. I don't need to hear about it anymore. Oh, no, I haven't, sorry.
Real policemen have uniforms too, by the way. Where's yours? Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist? Does it... Yes. Oh, great. What else do you need, detective? Yes.
This exact conversation.
Oh,
Real policemen have uniforms too, by the way. Where's yours? Right. It's better to not ask too many questions, lest people start thinking you're a cop or something.
please, no. You were trying to impress some people with it. Everyone was eating, and... you were waving it around in everyone's face, begging them to describe it. You said it calms you, and then you started making suicide jokes. It got pretty graphic.
Oh, those again. I have been trying to wean you off them. You know, when you put your gun, your actual gun, on your temple and pretend to shoot your brains out, off of that, people don't like that. I remember this. You were screaming things like, "My brains are all over the wall, painting them red. I won't be seeing it, 'cause these are my brains. I can't see without my brains." Very nice visuals there. There is silence on the other end of the line.
No, please, no more suicide threats. Thank God you don't have that stupid gun anymore.
There are way more inventive ways than a gun to leave this world.
Me neither. No idea. All I know is next you were waving around money instead, saying things like big bucks cannot lie and guns can't buy money, but money can always buy guns. It almost looked like you pawned it, but believe me, I did not ask.
You hear the...
Anything else I can help you with, officer? 57's over and out.
In the cabin, you see a set of steering levers.
Yes? What do you want to know? No, it's not a particularly mysterious case. The deceased is a security guard for a corporation involved in a labor dispute. It doesn't take a DeLorean polymath to put the pieces together. I just don't see the case getting more mysterious than that. Then you're in luck, because we are in the midst of a major strike by the dock workers union.
Is this a strike then? Or the first shots in a workers' coup?
I expect the case itself to be less challenging than navigating these community matters. This district isn't used to the RCM's presence, and the Union rarely overplays its hand, as it appears to have done in this case. Strike, coup, revolution, it's brigandage, however you parse it.
You feel something rising through you, a familiar feeling, an opinion taking form.
When I said we have to navigate community matters, I did not mean we have any say in them. I meant we should be careful. If we are not, the shit will blow right in our faces.
From an imaginary fan.
Now, was there anything else you wanted to know about the case? Good.
Life doesn't need to be a struggle. I'll be with you in a moment, officer. Let me just finish my sandwich. Talk to angry old René first.
Have you no shame? Whining about your back every time you bring out the measuring tape.
René, you're a man with a fork in a world of soup. Please, let's just try to enjoy the game, alright?
I'm trying to, but you keep breaking my concentration. You're old. I can see that. We're both old. Now stop grabbing your ass like it's a girl.
These manly men are playing balls. This is a ball game. Grab a ball and play it. Don't ask questions. Shoot first. Ask questions never. No, you got this. There's the ball. You're the game.
See? Your munching and complaining have ruined my concentration.
Could the objective of the game be to throw the metal ball so it lands by the wooden ball?
Ah, mon Dieu. The pain in my back is unbearable. I can't even say if it's in my back or hip anymore. Feels like it's in both.
I hope you pass out from it, you goddamn jellyfish. Men like you are the reason this nation is sinking.
Trying to throw something as close to a predetermined point as possible. Measuring. This must be the age-old game of petanque. Shush. Ignore them. They don't know what they're doing. They're old. You are letting down yourself and the team. Get in the damn game already. Doesn't matter what team. Pick a team. Any team. The blue team. You're letting them down. Eyes on the ball, Dinky Winky. This felt wrong. Wrong like touching your sister's breast. You threw your sister's breast.
Mon Dieu! Good job, officer. That was an excellent throw.
Your muscle memory knew what to do and went for it. But there were gaps. It felt like you were going for a thrust or a lunge. There was definitely gonna be jumping. Maybe you scored a point, but this is a fiasco.
What are you talking about? You just executed a pretty much perfect petanque throw.
How are you ever going to get the officer's shit off your nose, Gaston? Or even climb out of his ass? Probably because those rooster pants are squeezing you senseless. Whatever happened to practical, durable, reverchol made? Now, what can I do for you?
Look who's talking. That cockatoo uniform must give him a real advantage when fighting in the circus.
Yes, officer. What do we need from this gentleman?
Yes, The Debardeurs Union pays me to stand vigil during the nights. Not out of any political allegiance, mind you. I'm an old man. Don't sleep more than a few hours every night anyway, and money is tight. She is nobody. This is none of your concern, and I refuse to discuss my private affairs with the RCM.
The lady is Jeanne-Marie Beaulieu, and she sure as hell wasn't a nobody.
Yes, it does. Unfortunately, I wasn't working that night. Been on a 2-week leave since last Monday.
You see, officer, René is the kind of man would rather die than admit he needs medical assistance or, God forbid, sick it. A real man.
I'm fine, goddammit! Mind your own business! It's nothing. Just got to cut back on coffee. No one. The boss has been unmanned since last Monday. There's no other guard. It's just me.
No one has been guarding the container yard since last Monday.
Yes! It's not actually an issue. I mean...
Look, officers. The container yard doesn't actually need a guardsman. Never had one before René. Monsieur Claire had that booth built specially for him. It's mostly decorative.
The possibility of someone being in there is enough to discourage any ill-minded individuals.
Evrard created this job for René because he knows the Royal Carabiniers' pension of honor and PTSD isn't something a man can live off. A decorated Kingsman collecting tear reflects bad on the whole neighborhood. His words.
Look, officer, can we conclude the topic of my guard boost now? Yes, like I said, it would be up anyway, so might as well keep an eye out. It keeps my senses sharp. Unfortunately, I don't. Unlike most of the locals, I have no qualms about assisting law enforcement, but this affair has passed me by completely. In Martinez, the Union is the law, so can you really blame them? Cop is a pejorative term. I don't have a problem with policemen. On the contrary, I admire the effort to bring order to our streets.
He doesn't know about the crime. Your time is better spent discussing politics.
I'm confident they are indispensable in regard to all the paperwork and other administrative duties. No man can afford to turn his eyes to the horizon if his rear isn't secured. If the women folk take care of that, then men can tackle the bigger issues.
The RCM doesn't discriminate. Women are held to the same standards as men. and, as reflected in the quarterly statistics, are equally effective in their jobs. Unlike men, they also have to deal with the very same mentality you two are displaying right now. If it weren't for this, they would outperform us.
I'm glad at least some people keep a level head in these turbulent times. Yes, the terrain here provides an interesting variety to a familiar game. I do. Fire from heavy artillery. Why what? Because that's what happens when communards hijack your country, execute your supreme leadership, and turn your capital into a slaughterhouse. You use heavy ordnance to clean up your home. Sadly, no. It was the foreigners who brought them to their knees. We fought valiantly. Too valiantly. So valiantly we got licked. Should have fought dirty, like they did with their suicide sex cult propaganda and mad anarchist women strapped to shrapnel bombs. We didn't though, and we lacked caliber. God bless him, but the suzerain's cannons simply weren't big enough.
It was probably a bit more complicated than that.
Because this place is a damn beachhead. Had to soften the commies up first. Yes, the military coordinated amphibious landing to take back Revachol. Martinez was used as one of the 3 footholds in Revachol during Operation Deathblow in 08. The other 2 are off in Stella Maris and the Delta. This here is Blood Ground, where Coalition boots first made landfall and cleaned those rabid dogs out. Most likely, we're playing pétanque on their mangled corpses.
Blood ground. You got old René going there. Like he isn't hungry enough already.
Don't get me wrong, officer. I hate those foreign dogs, but the enemy of my enemy and all that. They're the lesser evil. Damn right, son. They laid the fire of hell on this city before they stormed it. And it worked, too. The rest of the city got cleaned up, but Martinez they keep as a monument. And now the Union Socialists are practically running the place.
Well, it's your own damn fault. You, we, the coalition, Revachol, whoever you want to blame, never finished the job. Officially, the party never surrendered. Of course they still all influence.
You don't even begin to truly understand the players at the table, let alone the specific circumstances surrounding the... What do you think?
Thinking men have opinions on these things. Present one.
No, they don't. But I'm sorry it had to be the coalition. After 8 years of fighting rabid commies, boiling cats for food and drinking piss in the mountains, I would have preferred if the Right Honorable King Guillaume returned through Revachol, or even if that damn clan Fouissel had risen from the grave and led us. Sadly, that was not the case. Instead, all that is just, holy, and beautiful in the world was wiped away, and now it's neon signs with toothpaste ads everywhere. Foreign influence peddling garbage and stupid music on the radio. This is just what the commies wanted. This was their plan all along. This is what they wanted to replace the role of the suzerain with. A true king in both blood and mind led Revachol before Fricelle. He would have been better, but the damn commies drove him into exile.
Some manner of self-deceit is present in his thinking. Sounds like this Guillaume abandoned him, and he doesn't want to admit it.
He doesn't. That was 100 years ago. Ain't got nothing to do with anything. Damn Fricelle. He was the king we couldn't protect. The Carabineers failed him, and the crown. He died in the hands of the Hyperlay, in a very public execution.
He slouches as he says that. It makes him smaller, admitting they left the king to the mob.
The suzerain is the king! Has everyone forgotten already? They've forgotten already. It's no use talking to you. You were still in Daddy's borders when it happened. When we took our last stand against the Filth and rode the cavalry straight into gunfire. Ah, yes! King Philip III on his steed. A reminder of what Revachol once was.
Oh, absolutely. At the mercy of a cocaine-snorting tyrant who emptied the treasury so he could sleep on a bed of gold.
A superpower, feared and respected. A testament to what this country can be under the leadership of a true king. Someone who knows how to rule.
Oh, old Philip was a big fan of the purple nose candy the nobility loved so much. A cocaine connoisseur of sorts. His egocentricity is borderline legendary.
You can't even take the responsibility for yourself. How could you fathom the responsibility weighing on the shoulders of a ruler? That's why the Philippian kings use cocaine, for clarity of vision, to aid in their work. Regnum cocainum, Revachol's finest years.
Of course, clarity of vision, awareness.
Philip III was even brought into this world with the help of cocaine. The court made him administer the dose to his mother when she was in labor, and it is well known that with the help of cocaine, only the purest, of course, he was able to connect with higher realms.
He's just making excuses for the king's habits, isn't he?
Please, officer, don't encourage him. Do spare us the cocaine fairy tales. The RCM isn't interested in them.
Yes, indeed. We're not here to investigate the drug trade of centuries past.
Decisively, without fear of offending the sensibilities of the frail and weak-minded among his subjects. This is something the insurgents never understood. Revachol would be a different place if more people realize that. We could still be the...
Don't get started on that again. What happened, happened.
The Carabiner doesn't reply, but his entire being communicates unbreakable resolve.
Right.
Son, you've really let yourself go. It's a disgrace. But Coach Physical Instrument is going to get you back in prime condition, even if it takes 1,000,000 push-ups. It's going to take blood, sweat, piss, and tears. But when I'm done with you, boy, you will be a master athlete. When a man sets his mind and body on something and gives his 110%, he is sometimes going to piss himself. It just happens. No shame in that. Attention, attention. An old has-been given up. Come see the has-been quitted again, everyone.
Yes. The debate. I'm an old man. Don't sleep more than a few hours every night anyway, and money is tight. She?
The lady is Jeanne-Marie.
She?
The lady is Jeanne-Marie Beaulieu. And she sure as hell wasn't.
Yes, it does. And it's a private...
You see?
I'm fine. No one...
No one has...
Yes.
Look, officer. The content...
The possibility of someone being in there is enough to discourage any...
Evrard created this job for René because he knows the royal...
Look, officer, can we conclude the topic of my guard boost now? She...
The lady is Jeanne-Marie Beaulieu, and she sure...
Yes. Like I said, it would be up anyway, so might as well keep an eye out. It keeps my senses sharp.
All you observe is...
Vigilance officer, what can this old carabiner do for you?
All you observe...
This is you.
Don't you mean Frick?
You do not...
There's something you missed. You will get to it.
Vigilance officer, what can this old carabiner do for you?
All you observe...
This is you.
Don't you...
You do not...
There's something you missed.
Vigilance officer, what can this old carry?
As René turns from you to his partner and back, the medals on his chest rattle and glare. He keeps his spine straight and his ribcage lifted. displaying them proudly. 2. The larger one is shaped like a cross, while the smaller medal resembles the sun. A small blue star inside an orange sun. It has the word Valiance written below. The setting sun was a decoration used to distinguish seasoned combat veterans in service of King Frizzle I during the Revolution. A crowned head in front of 2 crossed rifles. The medal hangs from a blue striped triangle. It's the Croix de Bravoure, Cross of Valor. The cross was the highest battlefield decoration in suzerain's armed forces, awarded for exceptional bravery in the line of duty, in service of King Frizzle I.
For bravery. I'm sure, but I know this uniform's reputation. You are also wondering if I got this for raping women or killing babies. Son, we should never forget our past. Lots of mistakes were made back then, but there were also lessons. Forgetting those times means the mistakes were for nothing. That all those people died for nothing.
Whoa! Sounds like you're about to open the gates of conversation. This man will literally talk your ear off if you let him wander off to memory lane.
For doing my duty in the heat of battle, for looking my mortality in the eye, when men like Gaston here hid in the bushes and shot themselves.
He saved some muddy princeling who foolishly strolled into the front line in his gown of velvet and gold.
It was on the first months of the revolution here in Revachol. Unrest was spreading like wildfire. Marauders had taken most of the Couronne and were getting really ambitious. King Frizzle thought he could end it all in one decisive strike. Sent his cousin, Drisson, to put an end to the unrest. Alas, the young Drisson was all piss and no vinegar, wearing a tunic of purple velvet and cockatiel feathers to battle. Even his rifle was gold-plated, shone from 5 clicks away. Can you imagine the asininity?
He really despises that Drissant fellow.
Purple velvet tunic. That isn't exactly camo.
To keep the long and bloody story short, Drisson marched us against the partisans in Couronne. And when I say marched, I mean made us walk into captured enemy territory, single file, like toy soldiers, while he rode in front on his giant red stallion. The rebels were smart. They let us come real close before opening fire. Suffice to say, it was carnage. I got shot in the left shoulder and went down. Just a flesh wound. But just as I turned over, the prince fell into the mud next to me. He was missing his lower jaw. Then his horse, driven mad by the noise and smell of gunpowder, stepped on my leg and shattered my knee. I grabbed my sidearm and shot the beast in the head. Then everything went black.
Capitaine Arnaud, le fléau des chevaux.
The bane of horses.
When I came to, it was all over. It was just me and Jolas Tresson, gurgling in the blood-soaked mud right next to me. The dink had taken numerous flesh wounds and lost a lot of blood. But despite missing his jaw, he seemed hesitant to die. Tougher than he looked, that one. So I grabbed the dink and started crawling. Kept going until the 59th Cavalry picked us up. Through some miracle, we both survived. And the jealous freak convinced Rissel to give me a medal for not leaving him to die in his own blood. Piece and shit. He was the commanding officer and I was on duty. Just doing my job. Shouldn't hand out medals for that. 13 months later, I received the Sun for distinguished service. It's not worth mentioning.
You sense he's downplaying it. He did a lot more than his duty. More than anyone's duty. It's in his spine, in his billowing breasts, and untarnished self-worth. The old carabinier stands quietly like a statue, his features motionless.
What Monseigneur Modesty is not telling you is that he crawled over 7 kilometers before the cavalrymen found him and Drizant. 2 days later that was. And that even while crawling with a mangled half-dead prince on his back, he still managed to murder 3 rebels on his way.
Is that pride in his voice? It's deep down, but maybe even unbeknownst to the man himself, it's there.
Sorry, officer, but you're reading me all wrong. I'm a man of peace, and these kinds of bloody heroics are only impressive to men like René himself. Certainly not to me. How did you find the story to be, officer? Maybe, but also bear in mind, officer. They don't hand this out for anyone with a service record. Oh no, you have to get shot. Repeatedly. And you need to get your hands bloody too. Really, really bloody.
Do not speak of what you know nothing about, Poltroon. Duty is something you will never understand. Because he was a goddamn dandy. Had no business leading men or even being on the battlefield. All he was related. That's it. Royal blood alone doesn't make army commanders. He was a stupid kid, only interested in horses, hairstyles, and man-loving. And 782 Royal Carabiniers are dead because of his incompetence.
Whoa, man-loving? Is that even a word? It is not.
Bah! There were many such stories in those days. Many such men, too. True Eversholians. Men with backbone.
Oh yes, René, yes. Men were bigger, girls were prettier, and everyone wore the fascia. Lord, please, bring those days back, if you can.
I'm not getting into this with you again. Officer, was there anything else?
You should try to come up with a heroic story of your own. Impress this old soldier.
Vigilance officer? What can this old carabinier do for you?
Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be anything worth mentioning among your achievements. You should resort to good old lying. But of course, sire. Looks like they're waiting for you to speak. This Post Lavantorie mail collection box has been heavily vandalized with graffito. A closer inspection reveals 2 bullet holes in the front. A faint sticker on the side reads, RCM Emergencies Desk number 8102, with a slogan, Mankind, be vigilant. The box seems happy. Eat shit, pig, fucked by the coon, and St. G with a crown have been scribbled on it. Jenny is a whore, and best set mailbox also. The mail collection box seems cathartic, thankful even. So do you. You shudder. Then you swallow.
Hello, sir. Step right in. The store is open. Are you interested in a new and exciting book? It's a bookstore, sir. We sell books, postcards, and some board games. It's called Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People.
Books? Postcards? Easy. Even a kid would know all of this. Don't be a fool. As an expert, it's your duty to tell what you know to everyone.
Sir, are you okay? You've been standing here silently for a while now. It's a bookstore, sir. We sell books.
Books? Postcards? Don't be a fool. As an...
Sir, are you okay, sir? I'll try to answer any questions you have. My name is Annette, sir. My mum, her name is Plaisance. She owns the store. She's inside minding the register or organising the stock. Feel free to step in and browse our wares. I'm signalling that the store is open. Otherwise people might not know. They'd miss out on the crime, romance and biographies of famous people. Thank you, sir. I'm glad to help Mum out with the store. I do my studies at home at the moment. I have to help Mum keep this place running. Mum says it's necessary to do both because it builds character. Mum says a proper worker is dutiful. That's how you get ahead in life. You succeed.
There is stress and unease behind these words. She's reciting etiquette.
Mum says it's peachy. She was a little afraid at first. There's talk about this house being cursed. Cursed in the way that makes them say that no business has ever really thrived here, sir. That they all go... I wouldn't really say it like that, but I guess so. They shouldn't be, but they seem real. Anyhow, they say that these grounds are doomed for businesses. Of course, sir. Crime fiction is about murders or burglaries or things like that, and the work of a policeman or a private detective who's trying to solve a crime and catch the criminals.
Crime is what we were solving before this conversation began.
And it's kind of like a puzzle too. You can guess who the criminal is, or how the good guys are going to catch him. You don't look much like a policeman. Didn't mean to offend, sir. Sorry, sir. It's just that you don't look like Dick Mullen. Head, yes.
No, your mind. Not head, child. Heads.
Isn't that very dangerous? Unlike you, sir. He's just a fictional character. He's no match for you. Maybe you can show me some real police work, sir. Like in the books. It's the type of book where there's a rich lady and she has to choose between the good man and the bad man. Or there could be a story about a poor lady getting a rich man. It's about man and lady business, sir. That's really not a proper romance story. That's more like everyday life. Not in romance books, sir. These are about nice and pretty people, and everyone is happy in the end. It happens, but usually the guy gets rich in the process, or should actually be rich himself, but has lost his family property unjustly, like during the Revolution or something. Those are unhappy books, for most of the pages. People sad about what they have lost, but then it all turns out just fine in the end. These are not very common. You can't have a choice between bad and bad. Nobody wants to read a story like that. Well, maybe then it's fine. Maybe if the lady then decides not to pick either, because she doesn't need a bad man. Yes, that would be interesting. I haven't read many of those. Maybe you should ask Mum. I don't think it's a romance story if the main characters break up, though. No, I don't know. Yes, she knows books.
What was that? An idea for an unfinished novel stuck somewhere in your forebrain?
Maybe some about other books? Oh, kings and queens and generals of old, or artists and writers, or musicians, those kinds. I think that's why people read them. to find the secrets of their fame.
Seems like most people who read those books fail to get more famous from reading them.
But it does make the famous people more famous. Why would they do that, sir? That's so cool. Maybe they'll make you a book cover picture and everything. Standing over a dead body, holding a gun. No, sir, I can't. It would be too tiring to refrain from it. It's already tiring enough to remember to say it all the time. It's nice of you to say I could stop, though. That's a friendly enough face, most of the time.
The girl keeps her hands folded, hidden. Why is that?
What do you mean, sir?
She looks around anxiously. Her hands remain folded in front of her. She doesn't want to show them. The lieutenant stands by, looking at the two of you with little interest. She brings out her reddened hands, her nails frayed, nearly chewed down to the flesh.
And you knew this from me keeping my hands folded? Well, that proves nothing. Anyone could do an easy deduction like that.
She nods, half provocative, half enthusiastic.
Maybe so, sir. Okay, I know it's a bad habit, and I shouldn't. It was okay, sir.
There's more that can be achieved here. Ask her to do the same.
You're quite sober.
The lieutenant does not flinch at the comment. He does not flinch even a single bit. He is intensely not flinching. It takes effort.
Because you usually aren't. I sure hope you are, sir.
There she stands, swaying on her feet, assaulted by the early spring breeze. She smiles at you. The whole situation suddenly feels familiar, somehow. There's something you're missing. As you turn, a bright light catches your eye, making you squint. From a distant sunset, a stage light, flash photography, nowhere in particular. It's just what superstar law officers do. They squint at lights and they solve shit. Yeah, you have. You're a big dick cop, Dick Mullen. Salam Rocky Baye, badass on-the-edge disco cop. Time to recede into a ludicrous fantasy world. Here we go. Camera, lights, Yeah, you know. Beneath it is just heartbreak, a pulmonary tract infection, atherosclerotic disease. This is where you say action and reconceptualize all that. Reinvent it as the world's first celebrity police officer. This is the beginning of your legend. With a sudden flash, the world freezes around you, and you along with it. In an iconic monochrome solution, a black silhouette against a rasterized orange world, it's on.
Yes?
This coin-operated viewer is facing southwest. Its coin slot is full of fossilized bubblegum, rendering the machine permanently inaccessible. A thick layer of graffito covers the lenses. You spell out the word Onug written on the other side, with N and C scribbled backwards. That's Kuno on the lens. Under the graffito, a sea of blues and greys appear. Behind the water lies a coast studded with concrete and reeds. On it, a church on stilts, lanky weather-worn wooden planks, an X-shaped cross topping its tower. You know this to be the Star of Pericarnassus, or the Cairo, the central symbol of the Pericarnassian Church, a star, a great moral height to be strived towards. Around the large wooden building you see chunks of sea ice gathered on the beach, and a small tent set up on the ice. The metal feels cold and wet under your palm. It looks unhygienic.
Probably some kids.
A simple but clever solution to ruining a coin-operated viewer. It took ingenuity. This coin-operated viewer is facing south. The instruction manual says to insert 25 centimes and pull the handle while looking inside. Then use the focus knob to zoom in if necessary. Why place a tourist attraction in the middle of such poverty?
There was a revitalization project in '49. A design studio tried restoring Martinez to its pre-war glory. It didn't stick. They got as far as the street lamps and that statue on the intersection before something went sour. I suspect it was Evrard Skle's doing. He muscled them out. It's how it usually goes around here. We should have done something about the Union 10 years ago. That ship has sailed, officer.
Your money disappears into the coin slot, a clunk, the ring of metal. The curtains on the display open. You lean in to catch the view. It's blurry, different blues and greens. In the middle of the shimmer stands a drab grey shape, like a ghost. The lenses shift. The ghost sharpens into an islet in the bay. In the ruins, a man-made structure is visible, a half-sunken sea fort. Its concrete almost reconquered by nature. It looks as if it was abandoned quite some time ago. Nothing but a rotten tooth remains of the anti-aircraft tower. A lonely birch tree grows out of it.
Really? I don't have the eyesight to make it out. Really? I don't have the eyesight to make it out.
The display rack is brimming with worn paperbacks featuring an extremely muscular, sword-wielding barbarian on the cover. Nearly all the titles contain the word Hyundai somewhere.
Oh, Man from Hyundai. A very popular series of adventure novels. They're awfully immoral and violent books. Blood and violence, scantily clad women, epic narratives, all those mystical things he encounters. They're bound to grab those with little imagination and nothing to do. What does it matter? They're all the same. However, the customer is always right, they say. If you're a novice of the series, I'd recommend Hyundalaman, the man from Hyundal. It's supposed to be a good introduction to the series.
Rows and rows of Hyundalamen blur your vision. You make out some titles. Man from Hyundal and the Mammoth Rider, maybe 100. Man from Hyundal and the Sages at the End of the World. Man from Hyundal and the False God. Not even close. Man from Hyundal in Hell. Man from Hyundal and the Forest of Slaves. Man from Hyundal under the lake. Man from Hyundal. Hyundal, nothing of interest. Only silence and the cosmic background pain radiation. A small mountain of colorful board game boxes. There are numerous types of games for all ages. A lot of shelf space seems to be taken up by Wirral-related merchandise.
Wonderful board games, sir. The Viticulturist is a classic for sure, or perhaps you'd like Archipelagos of Insulinda, a very educational game for those interested in geography. Browbritter is a fun game of economic competition, but can get quite intense after a while. We have games for the whole family. You can play with your children. Then you're a lucky man, officer. Children are the greatest of treasures. For playing with friends, I'd recommend Suzerainty. It's a civilization building game where you build a civilization, then set off to brutally colonize and repress other civilizations. It'll cost 12 Rial. Lousy auras there. No, role-playing games are popular among those types. You know, who are into those kind of things. Personally, I don't like it. Not at all. I've heard they turn people into occult enthusiasts. That they have rituals where they try to summon entities. Highly immoral stuff. You can still buy them, though.
An endless variety of source books, law books, and codices litter the table. The topmost book is titled Welkin Compendium, 2nd edition. There's also a large hardbound tome with intricate cover art, The Hunters of Catawak, Boreal Creature Compendium, and a Pick Your Path adventure game book titled Tales of Wirral. Cat books in a board game section? Who wants to read books? There's a box that says Wirral, 3rd edition Mega Setting Supplements Module. The side panel notes, a fantastique adventure board game, new maps and miniatures. A sticker on it displays 25 real. That price is steep, but then it's the 3rd edition Mega Setting Supplement, so it makes sense. These shelves are overburdened with books from the same series. You see the name Dick Mullen over and over. A couple of spook novels hide amidst all the detective books. Thrilling tales of spycraft and daring do.
Oh, crime, robberies, murders, even sexual crimes. We're fortunate to have Dick Mullen and his stories to sort all that out. You're a police officer, apparently. You should buy all of these. They really do teach a person how to be a proper detective.
Crime fiction is a disgrace. An asinine misrepresentation of the physical attributes of the arduous everyday work of actual police officers. These books greatly overstate the excitement of police work, glossing over how long it takes to actually follow up on leads and eliminate dead ends. What's more, they completely ignore the psychological hardships of year after year coming into contact with people during the worst days of their lives. Not a single mention of all the stress this work creates upon the officer's family. Detective fiction just doesn't tell the truth at all. Now, would you like a list of all the books found on the shelf? You see Dick Mullen on the job. Get Me Mullen. The Stalwart Adventures of Richard P. Mullen. Dick Mullen and the Murder in the Orchard. The Sordid A Killing is Declared. Dick Mullen in the Murder House. The Final Case of Dick Mullen. An Obvious Lie. Dick Mullen in the Clock Tower. The Ordeals of Dick Mullen. Dauntless Dick. Dick Mullen's Funeral Pyre. The Murder of Dick Mullen. Oh no, turns out he faked it to solve a case. Yes, there's also The Dame Who Did It. Farewell, My Mullen. Faking death seems to be a common trope in the Mullen series. The morbid tales of Dick Mullen. A dark tide turns. Tragedy calls for Dick Mullen. Another one with fake death. And, of course, Dick Mullen, the murderer. In order to catch a murderer, Dick Mullen must become the murderer. After all this, you still haven't found the answer to the one question that matters. Who is Dick Mullen? Your quick eye notices a small caterpillar crawling across the spine of a book. The title reads, Dick Mullen and the Mistaken Identity. A worn paperback from Dick Mullen's classic Hard-Boiled Phase. The premise seems to be that Dick Mullen is framed for the murder of his best friend and has just a few days to prove his innocence. Could it be the motifs of unstable identities and shocking betrayals? then this is the book for you.
Of course. Such violence and immorality. I mean, enjoy.
You've acquired an interactable item. Investigate this item further by going to the Interact tab in your inventory.
The plaque on the shelf reads, Biographies of Famous People. You see a large variety of names, none of which ring a bell.
I would say... The Greatest Innocence. Yes, most certainly. It's an important educational tool, delving into the depths of history, religion, and their relation to innocentic power. A very influential historical figure, but surely I don't have to tell you that. You're a law officer, and law officers have at least some education. The book is also very daring. The author aims to re-examine the universal understandings of the innocentic system, creating a fresh vantage point and a shift in the tired order of things. Certainly, it's prudent for a person to have at least an elementary understanding of history and society. Imagine the chaos we'd be in otherwise.
You feel like you should get this one. Definitely. It's important somehow. There's something personal inside. Browsing through all the books with all their names makes your head spin. None of these, suddenly, a particularly odd title catches your eye. It reads, High Speed Love, the tragic true love story of Jacob Irv and Alfie Delatraz, by one Cecilia Averbrook. High Speed Love chronicles the romance between two of the finest tip-top tourney racers in history. One of them is the madcap driver, Jacob Irv. His blonde mane graces the cover. Next to Irv's life story, you see a slim biography of an Occidental rock star called the Anti-Star. He's famous for shooting morphine into one of his eyeballs and cocaine into the other. Next to that, Revacholian radio personality Guillaume Bevy stands in front of a run-down drug den. He's a permanent fixture on Channel 8, reporting on real-life crime and ruining cops' days.
I really must insist you buy one of the books. Reading them is not for free. Do still browse though, but not too long. I'm sorry, I did not mean to rush you. You are browsing. Go ahead. Take your time. Time is commerce. A true cultural touchstone. Enjoy the read.
Several maps have been attached to a bulletin board hidden inside the alcove. They're held up by small pins. The board has come loose from one corner. The maps look old and faded. Your eye catches a map of Insulinda, a map of Revachol, and a map of Martinaise. The north coast of a verdant island is shattered by the delta of a river. It is the River Esperance. Countless bridges put the shards back together, connecting city blocks to river islands. La Delta says a great artificial heart in the center, teeming with life forms and construction. To the east, rolling hillsides, Le Jardin, Stella Marie, the suburbs of Saint-Baptiste, swallowed up into the megacity. They sound rich to you. This is Revachol East. Hudon, it's somewhere to live. Not bad. Then there's Jamrock. It's bad. People shouldn't live there, but they do. Then Forberg. It's almost as bad, and much larger. Then Coal City. It's the worst. You feel you're just west of Coal City, somewhere above Jamrock and close to Coal City. This large map displays archipelagos. You see a constellation of small dots on the light blue emptiness of the Insulindic Ocean. The largest in the northeast is La Caillou. You are here. Another, far away in the southwest, Seminese Islands, Ile de Fantôme. Ozon, Laurentide, Fas a la Mer, Archipelagos, North Arcade Islands, all just specks of dust on the vastness of the Insulindic. On the edges of the map, the color fades into a blur of dotted lines, black and white, disintegrating into mathematics. In the northeast, a dust mite stands on the north coast of Caillou in a bookstore. It's you. You can, on Caillou, Revachol, a single black star, on Ozon, Fondelier, and Vilmandu, on archipelagos, Croyan-Moran, Villiers, on Seminine, Olduvai, and on Laurentide, Deora of the Seven Seas. 850 million people live on these little dots, an oceanic world of culture and commerce torn apart by history. The ocean breaks apart into a tangle of cosines and azimuths, all pointing into pale nothingness. Windy is the north azimuth. Grad is the northeast azimuth. Samara is the east azimuth. Seol is the west azimuth. Isolas, they're called. Connections to other worlds. Words past the Insulindian, unknown to you. You only know you've never been there. You have little idea what they are. Distant stars, gods, but looking at them makes you feel almost non-existent. Whatever they are, the Isolas are immeasurably large compared to you, and very, very far away. Perhaps they are gods, gods of distance and outer dust. It's not really a map, it's a tourist thing. A picture postcard with buildings on it, drawn from an isometric perspective. A date in the upper right corner says 48. Still, it's detailed. Could be pretty useful for scouting ahead.
I'm sorry, officer. The map of Martinez is the only one available. The other two are not for sale anymore. And besides, you could scarcely afford them. They're quite valuable, though they might not look it. The map of Martinez is 90 cents, though. That old thing? It's an out-of-date map of a tourist location that never was nor came to be. From when some design studio people tried to spruce the place up 4 or 5 years ago. They also renovated the horse statue, set up those coin-operated viewers, and designed the new street lamps.
The place does not look like a successful tourist trap, does it?
They didn't get that far, for some reason. A shame the project never got going. Would be nice if someone fixed Martinez up. All these ruins are bad for business.
The maps look old and faded. Your eye catches a map of ink slowly.
Perhaps not. It's against RCM policy to defraud small business owners.
The maps look old and faded. Your eye catches a map of ink slowly.
Perhaps not.
The maps look old and faded. Your eye catches you peek at Stalky, waiting for her to be distracted. When she's not looking, you deftly rip the map off the bulletin board and pocket it. You're now the proud owner of a map of Martinez, which, to be honest, did not even cost that much. This bookstore is not strictly about crime, romance, and biographies of famous people. There's also a wide range of paranatural literature. Amidst the various books, you find one written by someone named Matthias W. Dundas. It's about wholeness, unity, balance. These three things are very important to the working class mind. The point of the book, and many others on this shelf, is to give people medicinal advice in situations where they don't have access to paid health services. It serves platitudes, while also telling everyone that traditional medicine, the kind people don't have access to and which costs more than this book, is garbage and would only give you cancer anyway, without even curing your cold or anything. Wholeness, unity, balance, on the other hand, can basically take care of anything. Though it is important to note, when it's up to your mind to heal yourself, then it's because of your mind that you're ill in the first place. The book features chapters on topics such as how to find magnesium. It even lists plants you can harvest magnesium from. How to continue drinking if you're an alcoholic who has destroyed his liver. There's even a chapter on the ancient Seraïs tradition of using duck gallbladder preservatives to treat and prevent sexually transmitted diseases. Pre and post factum apply. Nothing worth buying.
Sir, please, no browsing in that shelf. That wisdom is not for free. I can't have you end up, like, opening a police store next door and stealing my customers. Oh no!
You see a set of tattered curtains blocking the way to another room. A strange cage-like trinket dangles from the curtains.
Excuse me, officer. The back room is strictly for employees only.
You see some kind of charm, an irregular polyhedron assembled from bones, sticks, and straw. Inside, a disturbing fish head with empty eye sockets stares at you. This is a traditional Seminese ward, meant to provide protection against ill luck, bad dreams, curses, and other supernatural scourges. Inhabitants of Île de Fantôme, the Seminine Islands down south. Aside from poking at it suspiciously, there is nothing else to do with the fish head charm at this time. The curtains remain shut before you.
Nothing. Now please go back to browsing the books. Don't you feel compelled to look at the books? The books are all you care about.
She speaks almost as if she's trying to put a spell on you, urging you to buy more books. Oddly enough, the more she tries to draw you away from the curtains, the more alluring they become. The curtain.
Nothing.
She's oddly enough, the more she tries. Just as you're about to pull apart the curtains, the petrified voice of the shop owner cries out once more.
Sir, don't touch that. I told you it's off limits for the customers. Parapsychologically speaking, we're dumb if you decide to open them. I won't be held responsible for the consequences. It's too dangerous.
She looks away, mumbling. Why is everyone always messing with the curtains? Why can't they just buy books like normal people?
You do? My God, even more reasons not to mess with the curtains. Just step away, dear sir. it's just a storeroom for the employees, I told you. Now please step away from the curtains. Why? It's not like anyone was killed there. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be so impolite. Just please don't go there. I can't allow that. You'll only make things worse and unleash the powers.
The curtains do seem frail suddenly, not robust enough to contain a slippery darkness.
Thank you. Let's just talk about this first, all right? There's no reason for you to venture into the unknown.
Talking is always good. Go see what she has to say. The curtains, tattered with age and covered in dust, hang before you, as if taunting you.
Welcome to Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People. Be welcome, and please take responsibility for the energy you bring into this space. Sir, don't be ridiculous. I certainly will not give you money. I would be doing you a grave psychic disfavour. One has to earn one's success, even if one is a police officer. Handouts are nothing but manipulation. All they do is make you dependent.
Certainly there are good things to be said about dependence.
Now, hey there. Sounds like someone isn't taking responsibility for the energy they bring into this space. Fighting enemy. My philosophy is everyone just getting along. I am the proudest owner of our little shop of culture. Goodness, you were already doing good, browsing the shelves. Why'd you stop? Don't you feel compelled? Go, go! Get back there. The books await you. Everything is on the shelves. Take a look yourself. The shelves compel you, don't they?
She smiles and nods, seemingly relieved.
Cursed? Who said that? Annette? I will have a word with her. This place is not cursed. It has a robustly magnetic energy. Good.
What in God's name is she talking about?
Annette, yes, my daughter. I hope she wasn't slacking off again with her nose in science fiction. Tell me, was she at her post, doing her job like a proper girl? Wonderful! Did you talk to her? Great! On a scale of 1 to 10, how compelled were you to buy books after talking with her? My precious, her dedication brings joy to my heart. If you have children, I hope they turn out as great as my Annette. God! Ugh! I've told her not to do that. It's such a disgusting habit. She'll get over it. Anxiety is a part of life. She can, if she has enough willpower. This is what's called growing pains. Life isn't easy. Life doesn't give breaks.
Come on, ma'am. It's obvious she can't do anything about it. You are placing an unnecessary burden on a young child.
She stands stiff and severe, silently fuming. 10 or so seconds pass without change. She's looking for one, but there simply aren't any good arguments for being an asshole.
Oh no. Hold on. I need to invite her inside and apologize. She must be freezing out there. There. I don't know what to say to you. My husband, he tries to teach me business lessons. I have what my mother called a dull mind. All this stress. Yes, my husband is a successful entrepreneur east of the river. If only he were more involved in the business we're running up here. No matter. Soon we'll both be off for Grand Couronne. It's a proper place to live. One of the most peaceful neighbourhoods east of Jamrock. You may know it for its massive housing projects. Most of the buildings are empty at the moment. It's a great opportunity to get ahead of the crowds. Better times ahead for sure. He made the initial investment. Since then, he's been what you might call a silent partner.
Super silent, almost inaudibly so.
Yes, I'm afraid so. A real treat she is. It would be nice if she had... No, we couldn't have afforded more children, really. Not in this economy.
A glimmer of sadness blinks through the well-crafted exterior.
We're quite busy people, you know, my husband and I. Quite busy. Children are a lot of work. You don't look like a father, so I don't expect you to understand. I'm sorry. I'm sure you do understand. She's been too busy helping me here, so she studied at home this trimester. This is a temporary solution, of course. I assure you, I of all people understand the importance of education. She will be back in school the moment the store takes off.
And hell freezes over? Never mind. It's not a good topic to get into. The woman looks aloof, her features much softer. Occasionally she glances at her daughter's silhouette.
I already told you, it's just a storage room for employees. I don't understand why it's so important to you. Just let it go, officer. Go buy some goddamn books. You're supposed to be drawn to the books.
She's so tense, it's a miracle she hasn't snapped in half yet.
It's just for decoration. Okay, fine. It's because this place is cursed. Just like Annette said, they don't call it the doomed commercial area for nothing. Are you happy now, officer? Happy that you've ruined everything?
Host of hosts, she prays. Guard me and my honest business venture from the curse that lurks behind the curtains.
The curse is so much worse than you could imagine. It's a disease, eating at the very foundation. It's the curse of financial distress, of ruin and bankruptcy. It's not just that, officer. We're dealing with something supernatural here. It's the cacodemons feeding off bad business practices and disappointing income statements. There's something wrong with this building, I can tell you. Ever since I arrived, I've sensed an eerie lingering presence, as if I was unwanted here. It's not good to talk about the curse, not in detail. The negativism, it's dangerous. Talking about the void wraiths angers them.
Wow, void raves. You have new words.
I've contacted numerous parapsychologists and even a pair of Simonese mediators. They provided me with the wards. The wards help to keep the doom at bay and protect us against the darkness that lies further in the building, even though now I fear it's not enough. Oh, this? No, it's a special Himian amulet, blessed by desert pygmy shamans, with a spell of compulsion. It's to compel people to buy books. There are numerous spells cast throughout the store. I had the books anointed with a different inducement spell, for example. It's guaranteed to boost sales 15%.
Desert pygmy shamans. That sounds like a rather questionable way to describe a group of people.
Most certainly not. I don't want anyone who's not familiar with the psychic arts to get involved in this mess. Stay away. Leave the spirits be, so they can return to their slumber.
My liege, you know what this case calls for? A para-detective.
Okay, but please, only a few questions.
The woman looks aloof.
Goodness, you were already doing good. Everything is on the shelves. Take a look. Everything is on the shelf.
She smiles and nods, seemingly relieved. Slither up to her, you silver-tongued fiend. Show her what world-class perfidy looks like.
Are you sure? Don't think I haven't seen charlatans before. You're no para-detective. You look nothing like one. And you're clearly a drinker. Pardon me for being so blunt, but...
You look like one. The lieutenant keeps his usual stony calm. He silently picks out his notebook.
How do you know all this?
Here we go.
You're part Simonese. Oh, it means our meeting couldn't have been mere chance. The hand of fate guides us. But I am not the only one at risk. I have to think of my daughter. You are certain you can help us? Keep us safe? I can't allow any collateral damage to hit us. If you promise, good officer, then you might be our last hope. Do you swear it? Thank you, sir. There's one more thing I haven't told you about yet. The entity.
Do not act surprised. You know of these things, sire.
You have? The entity takes the form of a woman, a witch probably. I've suspected that she must be connected to the curse ever since I first saw her. Did you know that she lives inside the chimney? Yes, that chimney is part of the building's central furnace, and it's enormous. She has barricaded herself behind some metal security curtains. God knows what she's doing there. Some unnatural magic, I assume. You should go find the entity and ask what happened to all the companies in the building. What is the source of this curse? Here's the key to the warded door behind the curtains. Take it. Oh, and please do return to me after you've looked round. I'm quite anxious to know what she has to say about the curse. What you discover in there.
What you discover? Probably just some office space. Don't be scared. You see a set of tattered curtains blocking the... You see a dimly lit room full of dusty furniture and trash. A doorway stands in the back, covered in dozens of scary little Seminese wards, your shadow looming over it like an omen.
Oh!
A heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds, of Seminese trinkets and charms. It appears to be locked. Only an echo. No one is there. A hollowed-out, dark echo. After exerting some force, you manage to turn the key. It's eerily silent. The door slides slightly open, letting a draft of cold air into the room.
Detective, you're the one in charge. What is this place? No, it's a gym. Though it looks like no one's been here in ages. I doubt the electricity still works. Good thing we have a flashlight on us.
Some specks of dust shimmer in a ray of streetlight falling from the window. Other than that, the room is dark. An eerie feeling rises in your chest.
Yes, because it's closed. No need to look for supernatural explanations where a banal one will do. Now let's move on, shall we?
A barbell lies on the floor. The color has worn off its weight plates. It's 60 kilograms. Your triceps hum at the sight of these weights. Show the world what kind of beast it's dealing with. Lift them. There are no collars on the barbell. This is a safety hazard.
You're right. The weight may fall off. Better not touch it then. It would be a violation of EPIS safety regulations if the gym was still operating, but it isn't. No one's supposed to come here anymore.
An iron safety curtain curves before your eyes, folded like a bellows. It covers half the room, blocking the way into a colossal industrial chimney. This must be where the entity lives. What an odd thing to do. Nothing happens. Still nothing. Those curtains prove to be surprisingly sturdy. Your fist hurts now. If this is really an entrance to the chimney, then there must be a furnace somewhere as well. Maybe there's another way to get in.
Can you please try to refrain from attacking random things? Why do you think there's something on the other side, necessarily? In any case, there's no way we can get in right now. Let's investigate further. Yes?
Your flashlight slides over an old green chalkboard covered in scribbles, sketches, and schemes like some ancient cave mural. Some of the writing has faded with age, but you can still make out sections here and there. These lithe, pointy-eared creatures appear to be different types of welkins. You make out autumnal candle welkins casting wax-based magic, translucent welkins with organs shining under their skin, and even ether welkins, hailing from the vast emptiness of sidereal space. You should adopt one of those welkins as your persona. No longer a mere man, but a welkin. One of the welkins, towering among the rest, appears to be different, however. It's Vara Hamira, a high welkin, his face white and scarred like cracked marble. This is clearly a Welkin supremacist. The note says, all non-Welkin races will be purged. The Haldor, the Twarg, the humans, and even headless men, all of them, purged. Imagine a world filled only with Welkin, Green Welkin, Dread Welkin, and the High Welkin to rule them all.
An inordinate amount of time has gone into drawing these little Welkin creatures. Some people really like building a world, I think, even if it's just for a game. This looks like concept art for a project. It's not really real. Political commentary. That one has a great beard too. Just look at those details. So much effort.
The photo collage depicts barren, icy landscapes wrapped in perpetual night. You see permafrost and glacial landforms, dead trees groaning under the snow. Entire oceans have been frozen from shore to shore. There are pictures of settlements on dried-up riverbeds, abandoned in a storm. Animal corpses in the dark, carcasses and bones. You see primitive oil rigs built into glaciers, boreal dvorg, yurts under the snow, great mammoth-like beasts of burden. Albeit dark and cold, this vision also feels cozy in its own way, like eggnog or morphine, a much-needed respite from our own world. A pinned postcard reads, "The heat death scenario. A desperate fight for geothermal energy engulfs the world as Wirral becomes untethered from its sun, drifting through the universe." This is a monthly calendar from the year 50. Cryptic words like sprint, daily minimi, and GPI span the marker-drawn grid, the grand scheme of production and money. It looks a bit like an academic calendar, only much more brutal. Minimi stands for a mini-meeting. It's part of a bigger framework for managing work called RUN. Station 41 tried to implement it a few years ago, but failed. As time goes on, the numbers in the boxes grow rarer and rarer. The board becomes an empty snowfield in the final days. Only failure and regret dwell in this region.
Looks like they didn't make it.
A note in the bottom left corner of the chalkboard says, "See the prod schedule filament for details." The handwriting is only partly legible, but you can still make out 3 slogans: "Call in, tune out," "Wirral untethered," and "Heat death of the universe." The full text reads, "Heat death of the universe is the new black." Another note says, "The biggest advancement in role-playing systems since the 30s. This appears to be some kind of machine with a cube-shaped heart and a wired framework. The keyboard has a rectangular on-off button. A piece of paper still hangs from the printer.
A radio computer. Just sitting here without anyone inside.
What he means is that these things cost money. Why would anyone just leave it behind? This is the Ream Civic radio computer. model RC5120, equipped with a Feld mainframe and a Ream-compatible printer.
We have one of these down at the station, but I never really learned how to use it.
The machine lights up like some prehistoric animal stirring from its slumber, revealing fluorescent play and print keys on the keyboard. The hatch on the machine's central compartment is wide open. It's empty like a beehive without its brood. Some cables have been left dangling. Disconnected, the filament you have would fit perfectly inside the compartment. Like a smooth draw, the filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the play key starts blinking. A bar of fabric right above the keyboard starts producing a soft hum. The sound of static seeps through the machine's planar magnet. The static gets louder, slowly filling up the abandoned hall, until a voice speaks out, crackling and old, cutting into the air.
Good evening, Fortress Accident en rue de Saint-Ghislaine. This is East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule? The filament you have inserted into the reader. Yes. Is that the production schedule? Good. Please repeat the password.
Password? Of course it would have a password. That's why there's a human administrator involved.
No.
A hint system is not part of the protocol for repeater stations.
Still no. I am contractually obliged to protect the privacy of the filament holder Fortress Accident. Without filing a warrant with Lintel, I cannot give you access to this filament.
I'm afraid we are not doing that, unless we want to wait for a month.
Now, can you please repeat the password? Received. I will register this login attempt.
Don't worry. Passwords have a way of turning up sooner or later.
Fortress Accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Fortress Accident is the company on whose name the terminal you are currently using had been registered to. One moment. Fortress Accident SCA produces revolutionary interactive call-in radio games. That's what the catalog says.
That's not bad.
Any other questions? Yes, I am alive. I am 74 years old and my name is Yvonne.
She repeats passwords. Programming people are all paranoid.
They are merely cautious. It's my job to protect their filaments as a password repeater at the East Insulindian Station. I work as a repeater at the East Insulindian Repeater Station. As for me, well, I am sitting in my cubicle, surrounded by a... Now, please tell me if there's anything else I can do. Good. Please proceed.
Don't worry.
Fortress Accident, thank you.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. Nothing happens. The filament slides out of its glowing nest. Nothing. Something's missing. There's no tape. This old fireplace is covered in lines drawn in blue and red marker. The mesh spreading over the stone like blood vessels on alabaster skin. It looks ghostly and strangely ancient. The whole thing resembles Kadran mosaic tiles. Very pedantic. History classes, students with their textbooks open, studying the roots of our civilization. Radio frequencies, it seems. UKV 123.6, UKV 123.7, UKV 123.9. Some written notes, too. Sparse and cryptic. Unclear. It looks like a cardiovascular system split into veins and capillaries. Very advanced. You think so? The web is comprised of radio stations, all lead back to one red heart, titled the Game Master Frequency. A note says, this one can listen in on any station it wants. They must have had massive airwidth. These things don't come cheap. Someone very important. A conductor for the hundreds of story threads that pass through the Game Master's frequency. Whoever decides to call in to a call-in station, it looks like. A list of names under the stations suggests people across 6 Isolas would be playing Muindi, Insulinda. There's no way a little basement studio working here could pull anything like this off.
My God. It's as if the less money they had, the more ambitious their project became. Exactly. This schedule, I know doom when I see it. The company was running out of funding.
Nothing. It's just lines on marble. An echo. This old fireplace is covered in lines drawn. The whole thing resembles Kadran mosaic tiles. Very percent history classes. Students with their textbook. Radio frequency unclear. It looks. You think so? The web is comprised of radio stations. They must have had massive airwidth. Whoever decides. A list of. There's no.
My God. It's as if the less money they have. The schedule. I know doom when I see it.
Nothing.
Okay. What do you think is going on with that computer, chalkboard, and fireplace? No, that's not it. I think...
Like he's ready to lay out a fine theory, crafted together like...
It looks like one of those popular pen and paper role-playing games. Only these people were trying to automate it, make it work on radio computers. Through call-in stations, none of the players have to be physically present. Anyone in the world can participate in the game, as long as they have a two-way radio. Then there's the Game Master frequency that listens in on the smaller call-in stations. I think that was supposed to coordinate the stories, functioning as a master of ceremonies of sorts.
Coordinating so many games would take a whole switchboard of people, possibly divided into sub-frequencies.
Not to my knowledge. They make automated games in Graz, Messina, Königstein. You know, places with industry.
Not in Revachol West, among the ruins.
But I don't think anyone has attempted to create an inter-isolary game before. We just don't have the technology. Indeed, those Welkins are a dead giveaway. Role-playing people love that stuff. The world looks like a modified version of the WeWorld board game, with hit death thrown in.
Super cool. Someone should give them millions of real immediately.
No idea. They stopped filling out the schedule on the chalkboard. Indeed, it's ambitious and untethered from reality, but... It's too late for that, I'm afraid. Okay, let's keep moving.
thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace, coloring it pitch black.
Looks like it. Looks like an old central furnace used to heat the building. It's connected to the chimney. No one has used it in ages. No signs of any recent fire.
It's dark and grimy here. In the darkness you can hear chatter. It's coming from above. A voice or several voices talking to each other. Near the smoke chamber, upstairs, the echo is so prominent, it's impossible to discern what the voices are saying or what's producing them.
What are you doing? Wait, really? Maybe it's coming from behind those safety curtains we saw upstairs.
A lush layer of coal now covers your skin, sinking into the wrinkles. Your hands look ancient. Maybe you could paint something with this coal. Leave a cave painting for future archaeologists. No, that would be stupid.
You're right. The rooms do look like they're connected. But malignant entities don't exist. At least not the supernatural kind.
Always has to be the skeptic, this man. You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's spreading to your left arm, your jaw. Very, very bad. This is all you feel is pain and weakness. You have to surrender now. We all do. It gets so dark. You don't even see her face, like you always thought you would. You only see pain and fear. Cop suffers final heart attack. A detective lieutenant of the RCM passed away yesterday. His death, though abrupt, did not come as a surprise to those who knew him. He was the heaviest drinker I'd ever met. Captain Ptolemy Price, the deceased superior officer, commented, "That ain't easy on the ticker." He loved his liquor, sure, said Detective Chester McLean, friend and colleague. But I think before he ever had a heart attack, his heart was broken. According to an official statement given by the RCM, the officer was on the brink of solving a murder case.